Adam, peace be upon him, and Hawwa, peace be upon her, had met. But did being together mean that the trial had ended? Or was the real test only just beginning? In this episode, we will see that after their meeting, what hardships they were made to face, the hardness of the earth, the hunger of the stomach, and that first fatigue which shook them deep within. And then, another question, slowly, quietly, began to rise. How did simply staying alive begin to turn into responsibility? Morning was the same, the light was the same, the air was the same, but the body, for the first time, was not cooperating. The night had passed, yet the fatigue stood in the way like a wall centuries old, and the stomach was empty. This hunger was not sharp, it was simply there. And when hunger is present, a person forgets everything else. He looked around. Nowhere was there a ready gift waiting. The earth stood before him, silent, hard, unyielding. He bent down and touched it. It was cold, as if it were saying, "In paradise, you were a guest. Here, you are responsible." He reached out his hand, but the soil did not give way. And for the first time, he felt the weight of his own existence. He pushed harder. There were stones, old roots buried deep. His hands began to grow heavy. His fingers started to go numb. Before the work could even be finished, his breath turned heavy. He stopped and drew a breath. Time was moving forward, and the human being, for the first time, was falling behind. In that moment, a soft whisper settled into his heart. "Is this why you were sent here?" This was not just labor. This was a test of patience. When he lowered his head, another feeling quietly arrived. Without a sound, two more hands entered the soil. Adam, peace be upon him, looked. Hawwa, peace be upon her, was there. No complaint, no question, only companionship. Her presence did not make the labor easier. It gave it meaning. Their hands began to move in the same rhythm. There was no noise, only the heartbeat of two souls whispering, "We are not alone." Evening arrived, and what little had been gained, for the first time, felt precious, because it was not asked for, it was earned. The earth was still hard, but it was no longer an enemy, as if it were saying, "I am not breaking you, I am preparing you." And they knew. Morning would return, hunger would return, but now, this was no longer just a journey of survival. It had become a journey of becoming human. And they had learned how to live, and how to endure. And so, time passed. The earth was no longer strange. Adam, peace be upon him, knew when to sow the seed, where to find water. Filling the stomach was no longer difficult. But one evening, when the work was done and he sat in silence, a new restlessness arose, as if something was still missing. Food had been found, but peace remained distant, because bread can fill the stomach, but it cannot show the heart its path. Labor can strengthen the hands, but it cannot teach the difference between right and wrong. And then this truth became clear, that a human being does not hunger only for food. There is also a longing for knowledge and for guidance. And when a person reaches that turning point, Allah does not leave him to wander alone. That is why Adam, peace be upon him, did not remain only the first human. That is why he was given the responsibility to guide. His hands had grown strong, fighting the soil, moving the stones, building a shelter. All of it had become habit. But when the body grew tired and stopped, a quiet question followed him. Is the hardship of this soil my only destination? Or is there another secret hidden behind this labor? From here, Adam, peace be upon him, began a second journey, not of work, but of understanding. Allah did not leave him alone. He was shown that these trees, these seeds, these clouds are not just things. Behind them all is one hand. Adam, peace be upon him, also learned that the earth was not his possession. It was a trust. And a trust means to carry it to the place it was meant to reach. He sat in silence, learning, not because someone was listening, but because he knew someone would come after him. The words that were settling into his heart today would have to be taught to his children tomorrow. He was not only learning how to live in this new world, he was becoming the first teacher of it. The path had been shown, but with every path there is something else that is necessary: protection. Adam, peace be upon him, was not only told what was right, he was also taught how wrong begins. The name of Iblees was not mentioned to create fear, but to create recognition. Adam, peace be upon him, learned that to go astray one does not need a great sin. Error rarely arrives with noise. Sometimes it comes only as a gentle question. Is this really necessary? What difference does it make? Who is stopping you? That voice does not come from outside. It rises from within. Adam, peace be upon him, understood that deception does not always begin with something clearly wrong. Sometimes it begins when the right thing quietly steps aside. Iblees never forced. He only shifted the feeling. And here, Adam, peace be upon him, saw that a human being often strays when he begins to believe, I am enough. That is why guidance is not only a path. Guidance is a reminder that you are not sufficient alone. And the one who forgets this truth is often the first to slip. Adam, peace be upon him, placed this deep within his heart. Because now, the matter was no longer only about him. Behind him, an entire generation was yet to come. Adam, peace be upon him, was no longer just learning. He was understanding that what was being placed into his heart today was not only for him. Guidance is never given just to be known. Guidance is given to be carried, and carrying is always heavy. Adam, peace be upon him, knew that in the time to come, the questions would not be only about hunger. They would be questions of decisions, of that delicate line standing between right and wrong. And when those questions would arrive, the strength of the hands would not be enough. Then memory would matter. That memory, which stops the heart before it strays. That is why the lessons being taught to him were not only for today. They were for the day when someone would hold his hand and call him Father.